one and all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back to yet another episode of Sometimes the Old Man is Right. As usual, I am your host, Lamont Ferguson, playing the role of the old man. The old man closing out another trip at sea, and the old man doing it again. Let me explain. First of all, I'd like to thank the folks for tuning in. All of you fine folks, the mighty eight that tune in all the time. I hope you are well. You've been good. What's the good word? I am fired up. Thanks for asking. Look, people, I'm always honest. Here's the deal. I've already done this episode. This is episode 51. 5-1. We had a big party for 50, and now we're moving on. But I've already recorded this episode. I had this episode, I let it sit for a matter of hours because I thought, okay, I really wasn't feeling that great about it, but maybe I'll just put it up just for the idea of putting up content. And I just didn't feel fired up in the episode. I felt like I was going through the motions. And when you know it, as fate would have it, something then got me fired up. And I was like, good thing I didn't post that because now I'll just re-record the episode because now I am fired up. Oh man, let's get caught up, shall we? I am on the Holland America Eurodam. It is the final day. In a couple of hours, I will be on my way to the airport and then on my way back home. I've had a very nice, relaxing, uneventful week in a return to what used to be the home line on Holland America. It's been very nice. Crowds have been nice. Not a lot of shows, not a lot of work. I was on for a week, but I was on the latter end of a cruise, and then turn around, and I've made it through halfway of this cruise. So I've done two shows, one for the previous cruise batch of passengers, and one for this one. All's been well. It's been a nice return, and I got in a little pickleball, very, very little pickleball. I did have a stop in Ketchikan where I thought, oh, I'll just go and hang out with the Gateway Borough Rec Center. I got all the way there, and it turns out people don't show up on Thursdays there. Even though there's time allotted for pickleball, people don't show up. I didn't realize it over the year or so of going there that I was never there on a Thursday. So that was that. All right, fair enough. I got some steps in. It was a nice, delightful weather day in Ketchikan. So, it is what it is. And my elbow could have also used a little rest. A little report on the elbow. I'm going to go ahead and give it 100%. It's at 100%. No pain, no anything going on. So we're back there. So this rest has been nice for a week. Other than that, that's what I got. Now, let's start out. I've said this on a couple of episodes before, and it's going to get political, even though it's not going to be political. Didn't have any intentions of being political, but now it will be. I am so sick and tired of these MAGA folks, the Trump supporting type of rappelling out of a helicopter people anytime they see any mention that could be translated into something that's bad about their party or mocking them or mocking a member of the. If you goddamn idiots don't shut the fuck up and go sit in a corner, no one's talking to you. No one's addressing you. No one said, hey, let me know your opinion on this. No one did. Here's the incident. You know the whole thing with Mitch McConnell. A few years ago, he just had a reboot in front of everybody where he just stopped talking, and then they took him away, and then the official word was, oh, he was just tired. Okay, fine, we move on. Years have passed. It happened again after that And they still said, "Oh, he's fine." And then they just pass it on, and nobody said anything. They just go, "Hey, that was weird." People made a few jokes here and there, and then he's on his way. Well, then the report came out, what, I don't know, months ago, a couple of months ago, that Mitch McConnell may have had an accident, something like that. He's in the hospital. Then all of the rumors start swirling. Well, maybe he's dead. Maybe he's this. Maybe he's that. What was it, about a month ago? Scott Jennings, for the CNN conservative panelist, came on CNN and said, "I spoke with Mitch McConnell earlier today for 20 minutes. He's fine. I'm so happy I talked." And somebody else on the right also said the same words about, oh, they had a conversation with Mitch McConnell and he's fine. Now, no one's seen or heard from Mitch McConnell since, but nobody's said anything. Nobody, every so often, there's an ask of a question, stuff like that. And they released a picture that may or may not have had a date of a newspaper that was previous, and that no one really knows for sure what's going on with Mitch McConnell. Fine. Life goes on. There's no one person on this earth that is so important that life will stop for. Okay? Every so often, I have a thought. I go, hey, I think this is funny. It has nothing to do with whether a news story happened or anything like that. I just go, hey, this is funny because I'm about funny. I post a thing saying, Mitch McConnell was with me at pickleball today. Hashtag, he's fine. That's it. Then maybe a couple of weeks later, I have another idea. I'll post, hey, I saw Mitch McConnell, blah, blah, blah. Hashtag, he's fine. That's it. 3 days ago, I had another thought. I go, oh, this is be funny. I said, Mitch McConnell told me that he took the super soldier serum. Hashtag, he's fine. That was it. People react to it. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Nothing. Nothing to it. I didn't say the Republicans, blah, 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 blah. That's all I put. Another friend of mine who wants to deny that he's deep into MAGA, but he is into MAGA. He's a Republican. That's fine. He's unabashedly been a Republican. No problem. He had been posting saying, hey, what's with all these things about Mitch McConnell? What's going on? I ignore it because I don't have time to explain a joke to somebody, especially somebody that has ulterior motives on that side. Yesterday, after I recorded the podcast and didn't post it, he sends a message saying, hey, are you dipping a toe into the political arena? And I didn't answer because I'm like, what? This is not political. It's just a funny thing to say about a dude that nobody can find. Then because I guess because I don't respond, he then responds. This is the problem. No one asked for any part of this. Why is it that that side can't shut the fuck up and just mind your business? Explain that to me. When Trump was posting pictures of the Obamas' faces on monkeys, and I'm sure there were many people on the other side of the aisle saying, hey, it's just a joke. But I at no point in time was chiming in on anyone's page at any point in time saying, well, this is what I think, my opinion. You know why? Because at no point in time was anyone asking me specifically, hey, Lamont, what do you think about this? So why is it anytime anything is done, that side feels compelled to open up their goddamn fly trap? What is this? What is with just minding your business and walking away? So he goes on to say, uh, that's not like Lamont to be kicking somebody when he's down. The man had a stroke on live TV. Okay, let me stop you and correct you right there. No, he didn't, because that's not the word from his camp. At no point in time did they ever say that he had a stroke on live TV. That's what you're saying. That's what everyone else said. And when they said it, I'm sure your side was like, no, 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 you can't just be jumping to conclusions. So at no point in time was the word official that he had a stroke on live TV. No, he was tired. He was dehydrated. So it's weird that when, it's picking and choose. Oh my God, it's so annoying. And then it says, I've been saying for years that we need term limits in this thing, and everyone's too old. And what about what they did with Diane Feinstein? Oh my God, this God, what about ism from both sides? I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of somebody saying one thing and then your response is, well, what about if blah, 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 blah? Here's an idea. What about just doing the right goddamn thing? Hmm? What about that? What about just doing the right thing? It, didn't we used to have a saying, two wrongs don't make a right? That's what new whataboutism. Whataboutism is now two wrongs make a right. That's apparently what it is. I'm not talking about Diane Feinstein. Diane Feinstein's dead. And whatever was done with her, where she was sick and out, and then they wheeled her into the thing. Yeah, it was wrong then, and this is wrong now. If what people believe to be the case, what all the clues point to with Mitch McConnell believe to be the case. But remember, I'm only going to go on the word people give because that's what I'm expected to do. My job is not to jump to conclusions and sit here and deal with rumors and all this other stuff. I'm going on official words. That the official word? All right, thank you. Now we're moving on. I don't understand why these people cannot just mind their own business. Can someone please explain this to me? This doggone fruit roll up thin skin that you possess, and I said this before, I believe you just take the cues from your dear leader, Trump. This dude who is so thin skinned, who cannot listen to anything, cannot take any type of criticism whatsoever, so therefore has to attack. And this is the cues. And this has happened multiple times. This is not the first time I've seen this. I've seen it happen multiple times. It's characteristic that takes place within that party. And I don't understand why we don't see the hypocrisy, the duplicity, the nonsense of it. I've yet to answer this dude. I'm going to answer at some point today, probably before I go to the airport. And it will be a simple voice message answer. He typed a message to me in instant messenger. I'm going to give a voice message answer. And the answer is going to be, I know this has been filled with a bit of profanity, which is not normal, so I apologize for that. But I speak like regular people speak, especially when they're fired up. And the answer is going to be, it's a goddamn motherfucking joke. That's what it is. It's a joke. Everyone who responded to it took it as a joke, except for one dude. This ties into one of the things I talked about in the previous the recording that is not going to get released. No one wants to put the onus on themselves. Everyone wants to put themselves as the center of the universe and act as if that's how normal is. If I put something up on social media, this insatiable beast that is social media, because I thought, that's funny. People think that's funny. I thought it was funny. And then someone says, oh, you're not funny. Because that happened recently on the pickleball comedian thing. I put up, I played the one time I played pickleball. I was just kind of making a tongue in cheek joke about a pet peeve in pickleball. And there's two things that tie in. One, my main pet peeve in pickleball, and I'm guilty of it too, is I'm not receiving, let's say I'm receiving the serve and I'm playing doubles. My partner's job standing up at the kitchen line is to just turn their head and watch where the serve lands to make sure that the ball was in or out. Because as a person who's receiving the serve, you're just trying to concentrate on hitting the ball, returning the ball. And if you're trying to also see whether it's out and hit the ball, it's too difficult to do. So you have an extra set of eyes out there. That person's job, watch the ball, call it out if it's out. So that my job is just to concentrate on doing one thing. And I was attributing it to old people eyes is what it was. Saying, "Hey, I'm old, but my eyes are pretty decent, but one of my pet peeves is old people eyes." So I was playing with a partner who was an older gentleman, and many times he kept calling balls out that were not out. And the first time I overruled him. I said, "No, no, that ball was in." Because we're on the same team. I said, "That ball is in." So we give the ball back. Three more times he called balls that were in, he called them out. And he was very adamant about it. So I just, acquiesced and just was like, all right. I'd look over at the other team, kind of shoulder shrug and go, "Hey man, is what it is." And they're rolling their eyes and they're like, it was, so I blame it on old people eyes. Well, it could be blamed on two things. It could be on the fact that he's a recreational player, so he doesn't understand the fact that just try to hit the ball because it's my job to call the balls in or out, or call balls out. Rather, you don't call balls in. It's my job to call balls out, so you can just relax and just concentrate on hitting the ball. So when your eyes are down trying to hit a ball and then they crack the ball and then maybe you see it out. But I said, hey, look, it's old people eyes. It's one of my pet peeves is old people eyes. Just kind of a tongue in cheek thing. The first response on social media was an older person, 75-year-old person, a lady criticizing me saying, "You're not funny. Sorry, dude, you're not funny." And then went on to talk about young people call balls out just as much as old people. All right. The idea that you start by saying you're not funny means you've taken the spotlight off of you. You're like, hey, no, no, because the truth is, I am funny. I'm hella funny. I've got thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably in the millions if you can include television, millions of people who have endorsed me as being funny. You're one person that didn't find it funny, and your statement wasn't, "I don't find it funny." Your statement was, "You're not funny." Well, you couldn't be far from the truth. You couldn't be any farther from the truth because I am funny. And when we start taking the onus and start going, "No, no, no, I don't find it funny." Well, that's a lonely limb to stand on when you're busy saying, "I don't find it funny," because now all the spotlight's on you and it's very uncomfortable. Yeah, you know how I know it's uncomfortable? Because I actually go out on stage with the idea in front of a stranger by myself to say, "Hey, yeah, I believe I can make these people laugh because I know I'm funny." You don't. It's a lonely road to walk. That's why you go, "You're not funny," as opposed to saying, "I don't find you funny," because the spotlight gets turned on you. So when these things take place and people come out and say, hey, I was offended by that because you're attacking Mitch McConnell. No, no, no. They're like, "Oh, why would you do this? Why don't you take a little bit of the spotlight? Turn it around, put it on you. See how that feels." And maybe you'll stop saying, "He's not funny," and start saying, "I don't find him funny." It's a joke about Mitch McConnell missing in action and saying, "Hey, I saw him somewhere." I don't know if I got to ask my friend. Is this dude your uncle? Is he kinfolk? Is that why you're so triggered by this? But it got me fired up. I was like, you know what? I got to sit down. I got to redo this whole thing. So here I am talking about this because people just won't leave people alone. And I don't know how we're going to fix this. I don't know how we get out of this very divided country that we kind of live in. And I don't, what the thing about it is, I don't really know how much we're really divided. I don't watch a lot of news at all. But when I do, it's whatever outlet you're watching will be constantly yelling about what's going on the other side. There's nothing that has to do with, hey, maybe we should just find this common ground and talk about that. That doesn't happen at all. My friend said, oh, there should be term limits. Dude, everyone's with any common sense has been saying there needs to be term limits. The right was talking badly about Joe Biden. Oh, he's old. He's this, the Trump sleepy Joe. Okay. Dude, you realize you're not far away from the age of Biden, right? It's odd how they think that whatever it is, 1 or 2 years is light years away. It's not. And I was saying that a long time ago about both, saying this is the only place where we let old people make these types of decisions. In regular society, we do not give this type of deference to older people. We don't. We put them in homes and we make fun of them. Those people are old. Somehow in the politics and government, we go, oh no, a dude who's that old needs to be making decisions. Look at your own family. How many old people get to make the one call in the family? I was joking saying, you don't let your grandfather get his own plate at Thanksgiving. You're like, no, no, I'll get this for you. I don't trust you with a knife. But somehow we'll let 80-year-old plus people be in charge of government and then go, oh, no, that's perfectly normal. Biden, too old. Trump, too old. Yet it's only old when it's the other people that you don't agree with. I'm so tired of nonsense. It is exhausting. It's exhausting living in a world where you believe you're governed by common sense and you look around and go, am I the only one? And the problem is, people with common sense keep themselves. People with common sense don't really speak out a lot. Mitch McConnell is missing. Nobody's seen him. Nobody can document where he is, which is odd because as much TMZ can find out when people are dead before people are dead. There was a point where I thought TMZ was actually killing people just to make sure that their stories were all correct. Yet nobody can find Mitch McConnell. Nobody's seen Mitch McConnell. Nobody's looked into Mitch McConnell. Nobody's like, oh, this is where he is. We just go by what he says and then sends out a picture. Okay, fine. Let's go by that. I saw Mitch McConnell with Tupac and Elvis. There. Hashtag he's fine. Does that trigger some of you out there? You need to come to defense. The hypocrisy is delicious. The duplicity is hilarious. I wish we lived in a, I don't know if we ever did, but I wish we lived in a society where people listened more. Talk less, listen more. Try to figure out where the common ground is and then move from there. There was a movie that was out, I don't remember when it was, but it is one of the best movies I'd seen in a while. It's called The Best of Enemies, and it stars Taraji P. Henson and Sam Rockwell. And it's based on a true story in 1971 about desegregation in schools. Sam Rockwell's a member of the KKK. Taraji P. Henson is a black woman in this town, and they're trying to come to this decision because it's schools will be desegregated. Of course, white folks didn't want that. They're busy protesting, and in this town, they decided to have a charrette, is what it was, which are just talks. They are mandatory table talk amongst the citizens. It was used to kind of build communities and design towns. Hey, let's have this discussion. What are we going to build here and stuff? So they were still using this, and it was mandated that they had to sit down and come to this decision about what they're going to do with the desegregation of schools. And Sam Rockwell's character, did not want to even sit at the table because she was black and stuff. And eventually they did come. A matter of fact, the story ends out. They became really good friends till the day they died. And just to sit people down and have them talk, I feel like that's what we need. It's the same thing to do with race in the country, where I would say, look, we need to have the discussion about race. And there are people on the side of white folks, and there are many people on the side of black folks that think, you know what, if we just stop talking about it, it'll go away. That dumb thought process. Can you even call it a thought process? The whole ostrich stick your head in the sand type of approach to things? Yeah, if we just talk about it, it'll disappear. Okay, dummy. Man, how are how are we still alive and this stupid? Seriously. Now you got to have the talk. You got to be able to have the talk, because you have to be able to have an understanding where each side is coming from. You got to be able to have the understanding as to why it is the way it is. People don't understand about Trump supporters as to why people on the other side would label them as being racist, even though they probably don't even have any intention of being racist at all. But just standing on that side, there are some people who go, oh, well, they're all racist. I don't believe that. I don't believe that they're all racist at all. But their side needs to understand that if you stand on the side of a line, who also is standing on the side of the line is the KKK and a lot of hate groups that hate people who look like me based on the color of my skin, not on knowing me as a person, but you were on the same team as them. Maybe you're not on the same subset of their team, but on the same side. If you had a big congratulations party going, hey, we got our guy into the White House, guess who's at that team? Guess who's at that celebration? The Klan is at that celebration. You're on the same side as the Klan. Maybe you'd be able to look at it and go, oh, well, that's a little unsettling from my point of view. Now, I know you don't give a damn about my point of view because you like to play the whole idea of, well, he's just a person. Yeah, well, when I walk into a room, I'm not seen as just a person. I'm not. When I walk into a room, they go, oh, there's a black man in the room. Nobody says there's Lamont in the room. They go, oh, there's a black man in the room. The same friend that sent me the message, I tried to explain to him about this thing one day, and he started to do the thing about saying, "Oh, it's about uh, it's about money and not having money." 'Cause I was talking about people getting pulled over, driving a car in a neighborhood, like, oh, you're a black person driving an expensive car in a neighborhood that you're more prone to get pulled over because they're like, well, where'd you get this car? What's going, it's a weird thing. They don't won't ask you that, but that's the thought that goes on. He said, no, he said it was about something else. I said, at no point in time is my credit score flashing over my automobile. It has nothing to do with your status financially, because there is no sign of what's their credit score. You can't look up their license and pull up their credit score. So there's got to be something you're pulling up on, and the only thing is the color of your skin. There's always these little loopholes they try to find to justify their thinly veiled argument. I've had enough. People can't, I don't know if they can't see it or they just don't want to see it. Because if you don't want to see it, it's because you may take a look, it may flip a mirror in your face, and you have to look at your shortcomings, what it is that you do that's not helping the situation. I don't know, but we need a charrette. That's what we need. We need mandated charrettes in America to force people to sit down and talk. By the way, if you have a chance, take a look at that movie. The Best of Enemies. It is fantastic. Fantastic. It's I used well, I used to. I talk about in February, the month of Black History Month. They always put on these make black people angry movies. You know, Mississippi Burning and all these other movies that just make black people angry. This is one of those movies where it will make black people angry in the beginning, but as an American at the end, you're like, or it's just, let's not even say an American, as a person that would like to believe in human beings, at the end, you'll go, oh, look at that. That is nice. That is really nice. The Best of Enemies. Check it out or not if you don't want to. I don't care what happens at this point in time. I'm just looking for funny. I'm just looking for common sense. I'm just trying to get people to use their noggin. How hard is that to do? You will never come to any understanding unless you walk into an argument with the idea in the back of your head that says, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? No matter what if I'm wrong? Don't start your statement with you're not funny. Start your statement with what if I'm wrong and he is funny? Hmm? You see how that's a different approach? Anyway, I'm looking forward to going home. I've had a nice time, but I train moves on. Train moves on. Matter of fact, it's gonna be a short turnaround. I go home for a day. This is gonna be a full day of travel. I leave at 2 p.m. Alaska time. I don't get it back home until 10 p.m. West Coast time. That's a full day gone. And I've got a day off. And then the very next day after that, up, Adam, airport, time to go. I think I got to be there at 7. And it's to Fort Lauderdale to join a celebrity ship, the Celebrity Reflection. Little quick 6-day cruise going to Cozumel. I'll probably pop into Pico Polk, get some pickleball in there. Cozumel, Grand Cayman, Bimini, head back home for another week, and then back on this ship, the Eurodam, which I will look forward to because it used to be the home line. I was exclusively on Holland America for a handful of years, and it was delightful. Then Celebrity came along, and they took up a lot of the weeks, and they became the home line. But this, it was the first home line, so it was nice to be back on here, and I will look forward to coming back. As long as you're working, as long as you're in demand, you must be doing something right. You know, to 75-year-old pickleball lady, I'll try to spread the news to the cruise lines that I'm not funny because of something that you thought. Here's my response to people who think that, oh, well, you're not funny. I'm not looking for your approval. I don't know what agency you work with, the Bureau of Funny, that says that you have the gold stamp of approval to make that decision. I have the highest level of approval in the land. You know what agency that is? The IRS. Yeah, the Internal Revenue Service knows for a fact that I'm funny. You know how I know? Because every year they go, hey, those jokes you tell? We're going to have to take a cut of that compensation. Yeah. So the IRS knows that I'm funny. I don't need to hear from Gladys that I'm funny. You can go ahead and keep that opinion to yourself. Speaking of funny and silly, because I do have random silly thoughts as opposed to, or should I stay on serious? Let's stay on serious. Let's stay on serious and then move to funny. We'll close out with funny. That's how we'll do it. So we'll stay on serious on the last time I talked about the Nolan Wells case. And more things keep coming out in that case. Now, the thing you see online, and here's the thing about it I don't know whether to believe anything online whatsoever. With AI And the fact that people run with rumors and you can just post anything in the wild, wild west that is social media, you can't trust anything. I don't know how anybody does trust anything. There's nothing you can trust. You have to wait and wait and wait and then find out whether or not something was true. But now I'm hearing that there's video recordings with the kids saying that Nolan Wells is dead and then trying to cover up. But I listened to the recordings and it could be, those recordings they have on social media where they say one thing. And so if you listen, you're like, hey, it does say that. But then they'll put a thing where it's like, well, or they say this, and you hear the computer voice, and you're like, oh, wait, it says that too. You feel like it could be that. I feel like, no, no, we've already been duped by this thing where the voice says this and you think it says that, or no, it says this. Then you say, it's the whole blue and gold dress thing all over again. So you really, I don't know what to trust. But this is what's going on. So there could be a recording where there's an admission that Nolan Wells is dead when the kid said that they had left and he was on the island by himself, or he was on the island to go see a girl. But meanwhile, this recording has them with him. But who knows? Who knows what's going on? Apparently, on the autopsy, I saw that there's part of his throat is missing. I don't what this is crazy. This whole story is what's going on. And I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of it. The whole thing is absolute insanity. It just doesn't make any sense. There's something about there are people not telling the truth. There's things that look guilty, right? There's things that look guilty. When you come back and you're scrubbing social media and you've got the phone and you lawyer up. Yeah, there's weird things about this. But that's the newest thing. And everyone will be clamoring on to the story because it's exciting. Meanwhile losing track of the fact that the young man is no longer here when he probably should have been here. 5 people went out, 4 people came back. 5 people go out, 5 people should come back. I know it's titillating and it's exciting about this story because this is what we've built eyeballs on. Is just this is the whole Dateline thing. This is what NBC does with Dateline. This is what the whole obsession with podcasts and true crime stories are. And ain't people the best? People are the best. So I'll find out. We'll see. I'll let it play out. I don't like being I'd rather be first with the information. This is what my big beef about CNN was for years. They would they would misreport stories because they wanted to be first. And then later they'd have to correct the story. Look, I don't care if you're first. I just want you to be accurate. Just be accurate. But CNN's whole placement was we need to be first. We'll worry about accuracy later. Like, could you just be accurate? That'd be great. I don't think we're going to ever find the real truth about anything that takes place because of lawyers and because of just the deceitfulness and nature of human beings at their core to protect themselves. I'm not saying they're deceitful just because they are. I'm saying to protect oneself, that's what happens. That's why deceit comes into the foreground. It's because it's self-protection. Self-protection precedes honesty. That's how I look at the traits and characteristics of human beings. Self-preservation supersedes honesty. Most times. Sometimes you'll see people that go, nah. Actually, I saw it recently. Uh, Head coach of the 49ers, Shanahan, he was in a car accident and he was banged up pretty badly. He came out recently and said, no, this was my fault. There was a police report saying that it wasn't his fault, that it was the person that he hit's fault. And he's like, no, it wasn't. This was my fault. And I was like, wow. he said, "Yeah, I had my phone. I wasn't on the phone, but the phone slipped between the seats. I looked down to see where the phone was, and then by the time I looked up, it was too late, and I was running into this car." He said he was going 20 miles an hour, and he banged the car. The next thing he remembered was the airbag hitting him in the face. Well, that was quite honest that over himself to say, "Oh yeah, no, this was my fault." And the it was weird because they were saying, "Oh, we don't know how this report ended up saying that it was the girl's fault and not his fault." Well, we do know. He's the head coach of an NFL team. That's probably why it said that. Hey, coach, we're going to give you a break here. We'll cut you a break. We'll say it's their fault. And he came out and said, "No, it's my fault." Okay, there's one example. One example. Maybe there was no jail time, because it was just an accident. But whatever it was, that's one example of a human being that says, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and go honesty over self-preservation." All right. I saw it once. So it does exist. It is possible. I've probably seen it a handful of more times too. But all right, there's an example. But the idea that we're going to ever find out what really happened with COVID, why it was what it was, how ridiculous it was that we went through this whole thing, you know, uh, we'll never find out about it. But what we do keep finding out about is that the more things they keep hiding, the more information about aliens and UFOs keep coming out. Like every single time there's a story, they go, "We'd like to know more about that." Somehow it gets released by, "Hey, by the way, this UFO thing was really real. This really we keep getting fed that. And somehow it's not working because people are not it's like fishing, and they keep throwing out all this chum, and they go, "Well, maybe they'll get this," and then we just ignore it because nobody is really obsessed with the whole UFO talk. UFO talk is not really caught fire the way that people who keep putting out that information would like it to be. They're like, "Oh, that's interesting." Anyway, back to what we were talking about. That that is hilarious. We keep getting more information about UFOs that people ignore at an amazing rate. I think it's going to take Bigfoot to have a press conference for us to have any attention paid to the paranormal. Yeah, Bigfoot's going to have a press conference, or there's going to have to be a landing of a UFO and saying, "Hey, look, guys, this is what we want to say." Then the UFOs the aliens will come out and they'll probably plead the fifth. They were like, "That's not for you." They're like, inalienable rights, I'm inalienable. So I'm going to go ahead and plead the fifth for this thing. So I don't know if we'll ever get any truth about anything. All of us are gonna have to become president for us to be able to get the truth. And I don't know if the president really gets revealed the truth. I think that he or she does, but I don't know if they really do. I may have to run for president just to find out. But then I'd have to win because you don't, well, maybe you do. Maybe because, like if you're running for president, you still get the briefings. If you're in the, the final running, the opponent gets the daily briefings as well. So maybe, I don't know if they get the secrets, but they do get the briefings. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Once I get done with pickleball and working on ships and dealing with people who don't think I'm funny, maybe I'll have to put running for president on the list. I think I'm going to have to expand my time frame for my life cycle because I don't know if I have much more time. I might have to push this ahead. But then again, the way presidents are elected now, like I've got 20 years. I got 20 years to work on running for president or being president. Let's say 16 years to work on being president. And that'll put me right at the perfect age. So I do have time. As long as I keep taking care of myself. I got time. All right, now let's go fun, shall we? Let's go let's go some sports. LeBron James signs with the Philadelphia 76ers. There's two camps about that. Philadelphia 76er fans are ecstatic. LeBron haters are just, well, they're LeBron haters. I'm not in either one of those two camps. As I've said before, I'm not a big LeBron guy. I'm a Laker guy. So I would have liked LeBron to stay with the Lakers. I would have liked LeBron to have finished his career with the Lakers. Many people don't know this, but LeBron has spent more time with the Lakers franchise than he has with any other franchise. But the I don't even want to call them fans. They're just annoying jackass LeBron haters that are celebrating that, oh, yeah, good thing we got LeBron out of here. LeBron's gone. He only won one championship in the 8 years he was with the Lakers. There's been a different champion every year for the past 8 years. So I don't know how many championships you thought you could have won with who, because every team that won a championship was a different team. The Lakers just happen to be one of those teams. Be grateful for that. I am. They loved Kobe, and I love Kobe too. But Kobe last championship was in 2019 or 2010. Then Kobe retired in 2019, 2018, somewhere around there. He won no championships in 8 years. Zero. LeBron won one in his 8 years here, and people are acting as if he did nothing. He also had a litany of horrible coaches. Luke Walton was a coach. Darvin Ham was a head coach. Were the Lakers really trying to win a championship during a lot of these years? I'm not sure, but he won one, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm not a person that, like I said, hates LeBron. I respect him for his game. I greatly respect him for his longevity. The fact that he is 41 years old is still one of the let's modestly say top 15 players in the league, which is incredible. So that alone is something. I got people, oh, LeBron flops. Okay, you think that's what he does? You think he's gotten the most points in the history of the NBA by flopping? Because if that were the case, then other people would start flopping and they'd somehow get awarded points. All these people don't know the game. I know the game. And what LeBron James can do on a court is crazy. We will never see the likes of that again. Not for that length of time. Anybody remember Kobe's last few years where the injuries had taken place and it was like an appearance like Batgirl in the Batman TV show? Is Kobe going to be here? Oh, he is going to be here today. All right. That's fantastic. Remember Kareem's last games? Remember the other great players' last games that they played with different teams and they were a shell of themselves? LeBron James has been consistent through his entire career, which is, like I said, unfathomable. So I wish him well. I do wish he'd have stayed with the Lakers, but all this hatred, and when he comes back, I know they're going to boo him. There'll be the fans that boo him, and it's really just not classy. But they're not fans. Not. Same reason I don't like the Dodger fans is there's something about LA fans that really is less than desirable. I wish LeBron well. It'll be interesting to see how this goes with this stacked team of the 76ers. All right, let's finish here, shall we? I had a thought pop in my head like a memory trigger. And what it was a broadcaster's announcer's voice. I think that's wrong. I think I just said the same thing twice. A broadcast announcer's voice saying, from television studio in Hollywood. You remember that? Anyone remember that? Or the eight people remember that? That's how television shows used to start in the on CBS back in the 70s. The announcement would come, just a black screen announcer from television studios in Hollywood, and then the show's intro would begin. And for some reason, that just popped into my head. And I put that on and I posted it and said, "What comes next?" A lot of people put different things. Some people put game shows. Some people put uh, other shows. And there really was only one answer that was in my head, and that was from Television City in Hollywood. It was Good Times. It was the theme song to Good Times that would just show up right there, and you go, "Oh, it's time. Let's go." Another person put All in the Family. I'll take that. I'll take that as a correct answer as well. But that was a different time when theme songs to TV shows meant something. Man, that was make or break with a good TV theme song. Come on now. Good Times is right up there. Good Times. I don't know if there's any better than Good Times. Good Times is up there. I'll go ahead and give All in the Family as being something up there. The Jeffersons. Come on now. The Jeffersons moving on up and Sanford and Son. I don't know if you can get better than Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son and Good Times may be 1 and 1A, and they're interchangeable. But the others are up there. Moving on up, Jefferson's up there. All in the Family is up there. Those, oh, that's what I kind of miss. I mean, no one watches shows anymore because everything is streamed. And I don't know if any shows even have theme songs anymore. Show I watched that had a theme song that I would go ahead and watch every time was Doom Patrol. And there was no singing in it. It was just a weird, eerie, appropriate theme song for the show. And I would watch it and listen to the theme song every time that I watched the show. I wouldn't skip it. I would listen to it because it was, like I said, very appropriate, very eerie. Doom Patrol. But I don't know if any other shows have that. What's the very popular show that's no Modern Family? I watched a couple episodes of that show. It's a solid show. Won Emmys all the time. It is a great show, well written show. Couldn't tell you what the theme song was because they don't need theme songs anymore. Back then, boy, you needed a theme song. A theme song would do everything for you. Come on, come and knock on my door. Come on, Little Three's Company, Happy Days, Family Matters. Oh my goodness. List goes on and on. $6 million man. Come on now. Man, that was a time. You want to talk about a time you go, hey, that was a good time. Yes. When television shows had theme songs, that was a good time. What else you got? You got any others? You got any others shows at Love Boat, Fantasy Island? What else have you got? Dallas? Come on now. Go ahead. List yours. Drop a note. Old man is right 60 at gmail.com. Let me know what you think. And by the way, on the comments thing, this I here's my confession. I don't read comments on social media, or at least I try my best not to. Now, obviously, I read the comment about the lady with pickleball thing because it was the first comment and it just popped up immediately. And I was like, oh, whoa, whoa. And usually, if I put up things on pickleball, I'll read those comments because those people are just talking about pickleball. They're just like, hey, yeah, me too. Nobody's attacking and saying, hey, you're not funny. And the fact that, like I said, I don't know why people on social media believe that everything is posted is about them personally. I said old people eyes, and she took offense to it, saying, "Oh, well, not blah, 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 blah." Lady, I wasn't addressing you. If your eyes are good, then keep it moving. But there's this weird phenomenon on social media that where people go, "Oh, well, they must be talking about me. Let me address this." Nobody's talking about you. Matter of fact, I don't mean on social media. I mean generally in life. Ain't nobody talking about you. If they were, they'd be addressing it right to you. But generally, nobody's talking about you. So your comments aren't needed. I will say that on social media. I try my best to not read any comments. So, and I feel bad about it because I feel like if somebody took the time to either say something complimentary about something that I posted, I won't see it. And they'll probably think, "Oh, well, I took the time to post that. Why didn't they reply?" Let me tell you why I don't reply and I don't see it. Because as a performer, I do take the risk of stepping out and turning the spotlight on myself, saying, "This is what I think is funny. This is my work. Take a look at it. I'm sharing it with you, not for your opinion of it, but I believe that it's funny and it will help brighten your day or whatever it is. It'll add to it." That's what I'm doing. That's taking pride in my work, saying, "I think this is something good. I would like to share it here. I'm sharing it." But when people put things that are not positive for a performer, you take that to heart. I will give you an example as a comic. Every comic knows this. If you're on stage and you could have a theater full, like this theater here is close to 900 people. The theater I'm going to is close to 1,200 people. I could have a whole theater full of people and everybody is laughing. But there could be that one person sitting in the audience with their arms crossed and they have never made any reaction to a single joke whatsoever. They're just sitting there stoic the entire time. That's the person that draws your attention. That's the person you're like, well, what is wrong with that? In your head, what is wrong with this person? Everyone else is enjoying this. Why is this person not enjoying it? And then your focus goes on them. Your whole objective becomes, well, I'm going to say something that's got to get this person to laugh. And once they do laugh, if they do laugh, you go, all right, I got that person. They may even make a mention of it. They go, hey, I finally got a smile out of you because the whole show you were sitting there not doing. Or if they never laugh, you'll come off stage and go, what's up with that one dude, man? Everybody's laughing at. That's how it works as a performer. It's a I don't know, it's a defect in our mentality that we focus on the one thing that's not going right. You cannot do that with everybody and just go, I'm killing with everybody else and I'll just forget that guy. That's not how it works. It's not how our brain works. We focus on the negative for some reason because being a performer, it's a negative business. You know how many times you've been told no in this, but you better get used to it. You got to have thick skin. All those people that think, hey, you're talking about me and I got to defend this, you could never be performers because you've got to have a thick skin in this business. Some people's skins are thicker than others. I'll admit mine not as thick as most. When I used to first start out in stand up and you try to secure work, you would send out videotapes in the mail to the booker and then give them a week or so to take a look at that tape. Then you start phone calling them and call them and say, hey, did you get to take a look at it? What did you think? Am I going to be, do you think I'm something that's a good fit for your club? I would call until I got a rejection. And once I got a rejection, phone calls are done for the day. I'm not calling anymore because now my head thinks that everything is going to be a rejection. So if that first phone call was the rejection, guess what? My day of work is done. I'm not calling anymore. I'll wait till tomorrow. The best thing was that if the last call was a rejection, because then that meant that you got other calls, you got through, you did some work. But that's how I work. So if I see a negative comment, that is going to sit with me for a while. So on the risk of not seeing any negative comments, I decide to not look at any comments. So to the people that put comments on there that I've not responded to, I sincerely apologize, but this is the reason why. It's because I'm in a business that is just about no, you're not good enough. No, 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 no. And then maybe there's a yes. And then no, 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 no. And for my own sanity, I decide I won't look at him. Eddie Murphy was in an interview many, many years ago, or at least part of his career, and they asked him, do you read your reviews? And he said, no, I don't. Because If you believe the good reviews, then you also have to believe the bad reviews. So if you believe that, oh man, this guy's the greatest thing ever, then you also have to believe this dude isn't funny at all. And who wants that? I concentrate on the work I do. If I believe the work is good enough, I put it out there and I stand by my work. That's how it works. That's why I'm not consistent with the podcast. Is because now there are at least 3 episodes that I've recorded that I did not think were good enough, then I did not post because that's the pride I take in the work. So all things Lamont Ferguson can be found at lamontferguson.com or pickleballcomedian.com. By the way, I'm still on the pickleball comedian train to try and get that brand pushed out there. If you have an event, a pickleball event, and you need some entertainment that is pickleball themed, pickleball related, let me know. Let me know. I'm around. My calendar's pretty full, but if it works out, we can. Why we're having a conversation right in front of my door is beyond me. Okay, they have passed. I don't. This must be a very popular room to just have loud ass conversations in front of. But as I said, if you got that, if you got a tournament and you need an awards presenter and host and just need some pickleball related levity, some professional pickleball related levity, let me know. Give me a holler. Go check out pickleballcomedian.com. See some of the interviews. See the do work. Do some quality work. You got a pickleball vacation? Get at me. As I said, lamontferguson.com, pickleballcomedian.com. You can email the show at oldmanisright60@gmail.com. Put up a new logo for the Old Man Is Right podcast. Take a look at that. I think it looks nice. Oh, by the way, if you send I don't want to hear complaints. I only want positive comments. That's all I want. I'm aware of some of my shortcomings. I get it. I use the word weird way too much. I got it. Duly noted. Try to send some positivity my way. Did I even say that word correctly? Positivity. I think I slurred the word. Positivity. That's what I said. There. Look at me. I don't even know how to talk. There. I've insulted myself. I will head back to home, big home front for a day, change out my Alaska wardrobe for Caribbean wardrobe, and then to the airport and back to shucking jokes. Is that what you do with jokes? They're like oysters. You shuck them. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a joke dealer. Is what I'll be doing. I will be at Somerset Park on Thursday playing some pickleball. Good. That makes me happy. All right. Folks, I greatly appreciate you. I appreciate the mighty 8 listeners. Who knows? It'll be down to 7 now. No, I think the 8's going to stay strong. I think the 8 is staying strong, is what it is. Strong 8. One more than the Magnificent 7. Strong 8. Crazy 8s. Remember that game? I barely remember it. I just remember there was a game called Slapjack where you put the jack down, you had to slap the jack. I don't remember how to play Crazy 8s, but I know that's a game. But I appreciate the Crazy 8s. I appreciate those listeners. I hope you have a good week. I talked about a lot today. Oh my goodness, I was all fired up. I talked about the MAGA people needing to defend for some reason. I talked about their fruit roll-up thin skin. I like that analogy because it's you know how thin fruit roll-ups are. That's how it feels. I talked about internet people thinking that people are talking about them. I talked about LeBron, Nolan Wells case, people in general. I talked about a lot, and I could have been wrong about many, many things. I could have. I mean, I get the circus that goes on with LeBron, how taxing that is, how exhausting that is. I get that. I don't get the idea that people need to defend things that weren't addressed to them. But, if we sat down and had a charrette, we could figure out where we're going on these things. I get it. I could be wrong about a litany of things, but you know the rule. Sometimes the old man is right. I'll see you next time.